Yo, 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 good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever it is you may be listening or watching on YouTube or even watching live on Twitch. Welcome to another episode of Rising Lights. As usual, I've got my co-host, Enrage Kitsune, with me. Say hello.
Hey guys.
And then joining us this week, we have our good friend, Mr. WiggyStylz. You want to say hello, Wiggy?
Hello.
So, as usual, I will just say as an introduction to the podcast, the song we came into today actually is the one that the video's up. I like getting this video up specifically just because it has the whole band there on screen, and you can see our good friend Cody in the middle there, where the microphone is. We had him on the podcast in like episode 4. And there's even a clip from that podcast that basically states that the band's standpoint on using their music is have at it, and that they love to see what people come up with in, you know, video content creation format using their music, which seems to be the standpoint for a lot of artists, but obviously record labels and stuff get involved, and hence where DMCA comes from. So that's a little bit of an intro into those. Then we have obviously the whole point of the podcast, as we've discussed in previous episodes, is, and more specifically episode 1, where it was just me and Kitsune talking about like what we hope to achieve with the podcast and etc. Is to just two things really: is bring not only communities that we are a part of and people we are friends with as streamers together, so that maybe, you know, Wig, who's on today, WiggyStylz, meet somebody who has previously been on the podcast because he decided to check out previous episodes. Then, you know, collabs happen and he's got someone else to raid whenever he finishes his streams. Same with any other people that are on in the future or people who have been on before. That rising tides raise all ships, hence the hashtag rising ships that we use. And then also for you guys who, you know, listen on the on like Spotify and the podcast platforms, and maybe listen or watch it on YouTube, you can maybe find some streamers that you maybe not have heard of before, and you can go and check them out and maybe vibe with them, and these people all build up like gradually together, if that makes sense. Again, rising tides raise all shit. So with that being said, let's move on to Mr. Wiggy. Do you want to give a little bit of an intro into who you are, Wig, what got you started into streaming? And
yeah, sure. Thanks for having me on, by the way, yourself and Kit. I appreciate it. I have watched the last few, or listened to the last few episodes you've done. Quite intriguing. It's nice to listen to some people that you see streaming on a daily or weekly basis out of that environment, and just being able to sort of sit and talk and chill. I find that quite refreshing sometimes. So yeah, thanks for having me on. Friends just normally call me Wig. What got me into gaming? Wow. I started gaming when I was like super young, probably like 4, 5 years old. I come from quite a big family, and I remember my nan and my granddad used to live out in the countryside. My granddad was like ex-army, and when the war finished, he went on to run a plant for Yorkshire Water, and part of his job detail permitted him the use of a house out near the plant. So it was in like the middle of nowhere, basically. Which was great, because in the summer holidays, myself and all my cousins, we used to go around to my nan's and stay over. There was woods nearby and all that. And then we went around one year, and she bought, this is going to give away my age a little bit. She had an Atari. You probably won't remember those. You might have to look it up in like a dictionary or something, or eBay or something like that. I'm sure there's still a few lying around.
I've seen them, but I've never played one. Like
Yeah.
my console, like growing up, was like the original PlayStation, and then the PS1 after that.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I was like probably, I don't know, like getting up for 10, 11, 12 when those came out. So yeah, went round and she had this Atari, and that was it. Bang, like hooked, hook, line, and sinker. Um, and since then, I've just been mad into gaming. So like every Christmas, it was like a console, it was games, it was yeah, friends coming round to the house, just gaming for weekends when you're not at school. Um, and that's just continued through into adulthood. I think it's strange. I think what we're going to find, what we have kind of found already, but I don't think, gaming sometimes has this stigma, or it has had this stigma of like not being a very productive pastime for
Yeah,
children. I think that through this next generation is going to completely disappear. And I think it
yeah,
kind of is already. We're just
yeah.
seeing it
It is kind
start
of
to turn that corner.
one thing I will like say on that point is, yeah, it is already starting to disappear. You think older generation, like older than my mum, for instance. My mum's like late 40s, nearly 50,
Mm.
basically. Um,
Mhm.
they're more like radio, TV generation.
I think
Um,
that'll be the last generation, mate, because after that, the next generation is me. It's
yeah,
my generation.
but
And yeah.
they're more inclined to listen to the radio, right? So one thing I'll say on that point is the other day my mother-in-law was listening to the radio, and because she like listens to it in the kitchen when she's like making food or whatever, um, and basically on there, like our local BBC station, I think it was. Basically, it was scientific evidence has been brought forward to show that uh, gaming in children and young adults increases brain activity and um, increases
Mm.
like stuff like imagination and stuff, and people are more. So if somebody's been gaming all their life, they're more inclined to be an inventor because they're like, oh, well, what if this is possible? Because it was possible in this
Mm.
game. Do you know what I
Mm.
mean? And then they're more inclined
Yeah.
to scientifically research, to do all the experiments and shit that they might need to do to try and work
Mm.
towards that end. So whilst right now looking at it, things like faster than light travel, looking at like Tesla, what's it, SpaceX, I forget his name,
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk, that's it. Whilst they're like, oh, we're gonna try and get to Mars, you can imagine in like 20, 30 years time when the kids that are gaming now growing up are like 20 or 30 and are in the positions that people like Elon Musk are in, we're gonna have
Yeah.
like faster than light travel and shit, because it's like, oh well, it was possible in Halo, it was possible in X game, that game, and this game. You know what I mean? Like,
I think it's
so
an
why
interesting
not?
point.
Sort
Yeah,
of.
I think that is an interesting point. I think that there is inspiration that children find from playing video
Exactly.
games, and it is the birthplace of a lot of ideas. Quick problem solving is also
Yeah.
a extremely highly developed skill in a lot of avid gamers that have played from a young age. Their quick problem solving skills are
Yeah, and you think
generally
about it.
very good.
You think about it as well. It's not just then those kids that are growing up now when they become adults. That's not just them. That's essentially making these scientific breakthroughs. All the inventions, etc. It's the developers and stuff that are like my age up to like 40 or whatever, 50, whatever
Mm.
age a developer may be. And even younger than me. There's some developers I've seen on like Twitter and stuff that's like they'll not necessarily include their birthday, but sometimes it will come up in conversation. Oh, it's my birthday today. I'm like 23 or something. I'm like, holy shit. Like, I actually would expect you to be a whole lot younger, a whole lot older than you are. Like, how you present yourself, how you speak, and all that kind of thing. But yeah, it's not just the kids and stuff that have had the positive outcome in, they're making all these thingies for future generations, these breakthroughs. But it's also then like our generation and generations before us that have had like little stamps saying, okay, this is how you potentially go about it. So like it's contribution essentially over a long ass time, I feel.
Yeah, definitely. I think in terms of development, that you have to draw that line between what is physically like possible in what is in the realms of reality and what is in a video game. But I'm a great believer that it does inspire a lot of thinking out the box and maybe ideas that people may chase that you maybe wouldn't have thought possible. Then you may be inspired by a video game, and it might lead a developer or a scientist or something to look at that. And is that possible? Could that be done? Who knows what will come of it? But I think a really important thing from my point of view. I mean, I have two children. I have two daughters, and I think I gamed a lot when I was young, but I was also very active as a child. I
Finding
was
that
into a lot of
balance.
sports. Yeah, definitely. I was out and about. I was rock climbing. I was playing football or soccer, whatever. Rugby, golf, tennis, cricket. I was doing all of that right through school, combined with video games. That was my other pastime, and also reading books. I don't know if anyone remembers was it Ian Livingston, like adventure books where it'd be like, oh, if you want to turn left, go to page 23, or if you want to turn right,
I
turn to page
remember
108.
those.
Not by the same author, but I did used to love those things.
Yeah, those things, man. I got lost in those for a long time. Oh, I can't remember. It was Livingston and somebody else. But anyway, so yeah, that and gaming, drawing. I used to draw a lot. I used to do a lot of technical drawing. Um, but yeah, it was mixed with a lot of physical activity, and I think that's really important. I think you do have to have the combination. You can't have a healthy mind without a healthy body, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I don't think you can have a healthy body without a healthy mind. Not to a full capacity, not to maximize your potential and what you're capable of. So I think finding that balance is definitely key.
Yeah. So obviously we've kind of covered that you lifelong gamer, because I've got your about section up on screen from Twitch.
Yeah.
You say you live in the Midlands in your about me, so am I. Hello.
Yeah, I know where you live.
Literally
Not
down the
exactly,
road from each
obviously.
other.
Yeah, not far. But probably what, like 40 minutes? 30 minutes maybe, I
Yeah.
think.
And I used to work pretty close to you and all. Everything from Mario Kart, Zelda, Nintendo.
Yeah,
Like,
Nintendo was a massive thing for me. The SNES. I remember the first big console I got. Before that, I had like Mega Drive, Master System, and the SNES with Street Fighter launched as a package, as a bundle, and I remember it sold out straight away, so I couldn't get the bundle. So I got the separate SNES, and then I bought Street Fighter. Now this is going back to what? This must be like 1990, maybe 91, around that time. And that game back then was 65 quid. Like, just think about that for a second. In 1990, Street Fighter in the gold box on Super Nintendo was 65 quid at launch.
oh, wow.
Like, my mum and dad nearly had a heart attack when I asked for that for Christmas.
and now it's what, 400 quid for a Series X.
Yeah. I mean, that was just for the game, though, dude. That was just for the game.
Yeah.
Like it costs more than what the games do now. So when a game comes out and people are like 50 quid, I'm like, no problem. Yeah, it's fine. I'm used to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been big into fighting games as well. I used to play Mortal Kombat a lot. Got to quite a decent level. But Nintendo was my thing. Zelda, Link to the Past, Mario Kart, F-Zero, GoldenEye on N64. You know, all the old classics.
So you said you love Halo and always have, and this love brought me like on a journey straight into Destiny. That's basically a similar thing to me. Like I loved Halo,
Yeah.
so when it came to Bungie saying, "Oh, we're doing this game and it's called Destiny,"
Yeah.
I was like, "Gotta get it." Like how well they fucking did with Halo, I've got to get it. And
Yeah.
like I said, same story, sort of headed down that path.
Yeah. It was a weird one for me.
Were you more an Xbox then, or?
Oh yeah, definitely. I'd sort of when the original Xbox came out, I kind of crossed that line over
Same.
to Xbox purely for Halo. And I still played a lot of like PlayStation. I've always played a lot of PlayStation on the side, apart from recently.
I can't understand
yeah,
the
I mean,
console war, to be honest. Like,
no,
you,
I mean, I would love both, and when I get the chance to actually,
yeah,
when they're in stock, I would probably look at maybe getting one. But um, I think with Xbox, Halo definitely sort of drove their
yeah,
sort of marketing home. You know, that was it for me. But when I saw Destiny, like the first clips and all that, I was like, Bungie, great. But I was that ingrained into Halo. I was like, oh my god, is this going to be like rubbish? And it looked a bit like, I don't know. It just looked different to anything we'd sort of seen before at that time.
yeah.
So yeah, I was happy I took a punt on it anyway. And yeah, the rest is history. I think of Destiny 1 and Destiny 2. I'm
I'm
probably
trying
like
to
thick end of
remember. It's
the
what
thing
it was.
between.
What 7 years ago now?
We're in our 7th year, aren't we?
Yeah, we're in our
Yes,
7th
sir.
year. So I think I'm not 100% certain, but I'm pretty sure. Thinking back, I was in my like first flat I had by myself back then, and I like for anyone who lives in Nottingham or knows Nottingham as a city, I lived in Colton, which is probably about 20-30 minutes walk from the city centre, up 2 huge hills. Well, up one side and down the other, but then obviously coming back, you'd have to go up the side you went down prior and back down the one you came up. I think I remember leaving my flat at like 11 o'clock at night and walking to town to go and pick Destiny up. And anyone who knows me like real life knew that anytime I went to a midnight release, because of how it is in Nottingham and like the whole like shitstorm that is this city, knows I like to be protected. So I would walk in my steel toe cap boots. So you can imagine how my feet felt after that night. But yeah, that, like you said, I never looked back either. And then so moving on, one of the things we wanted to cover with you is we ask people what sort of other events and games they're like playing and planning, and obviously you've got the Guardian's Mental Health Ambassador logo on your About Me section.
Yeah.
And one of the things we wanted to cover with you is the fact that obviously they're starting a charity drive this weekend, starting tomorrow, right?
Yes, indeed. Yep. Starts tomorrow with a podcast, and then runs through Saturday and Sunday.
And you're kicking off Sunday morning, right? Well, Sunday afternoon for us, but
Sunday afternoon for us, it'll be 2 p.m. BST, 9 a.m. Eastern, I believe that is. Yeah, for just 2 hour slot opening Sunday. It's going to be good.
hey.
We've got some donation rewards to be confirmed. Not quite sure what to do for that. I'm a little bit stumped with that, but I'm probably going to pick a little bit out of other people's and combine what I feel comfortable with. I don't know if I'm down with shaving my head and all this kind of stuff, but we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, it starts Friday, tomorrow, April 9th at 10 p.m. Eastern, which is going to be what, 3 p.m. our time,
Yeah,
BST.
yeah. If it's 10
Is that
a.m.
right?
If it's 10 a.m. their time, then yeah, it's 3 p.m. our time.
10 p.m. on the Friday would be
3 a.m.
yeah.
for us on the Saturday.
Yes, correct. Jeez. Brilliant. Yeah, GMH podcast over on twitch.tv/GuardiansMH. So
Okay, do you want
that's
to give that a
gonna
shout out in the chat in case anybody's lurking and wants to go and follow?
yeah,
Um,
awesome.
but yeah, how long then have you been like streaming? Any significant events and milestones whilst we're still on your
So I started on
Twitch?
Mixer. I
Oh, you
started
started on
streaming
Mixer.
on Mixer. Yeah. About gosh, when was it, man? I don't know. I think
And there
a
you
couple
go,
of years
people.
ago.
Kit's just put it in the chat.
Oh, thanks, Kit.
Took me a sec because I was double checking I had it right.
Thank you so much. That's awesome. Yeah, so I think a couple of years ago on Mixer, which was good. It was good for me because at the time I was streaming from console, from
Yeah.
Xbox. So obviously Mixer, Xbox, it worked really well. And it was okay. It was a decent platform. I've got nothing bad to say about anything to do with that at all. I think it was a real shame that things ended the way they did, but what can you do? So we had quite a strong little channel going. We had, I think, like 400 or 500 subs at the time. Yeah, it was pretty chill. We were ticking along. But it wasn't something I was like 100% on, like, this is like everything, because the thing is with me, I've always had a profession. I've always been in a professional role outside of like gaming and streaming, and my professional role has always been quite good. So it's always been a real balancing act for me to come out of it.
Thing. It's a good thing. Then you'd need sort of, I don't know, 20, 30 years, like a year or something. Basically, you'd want to beat your current profession wage before you could.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Consider going full time.
Oh gosh, yeah, that's not even a thing. Like, yeah, that wouldn't be a thing for. It's a weird one. Would I take a pay cut to do it? Yes. Would I go full time if I could cover the bills? Yeah, probably. I'd probably take that punt on it because I feel like I could. I don't know. Actually, I'd have to really think it through. It's a big decision.
If I was in your
and I
position,
respect anybody that does it.
If I was in your position, I don't think I'd be able to go full time just to cover the bills. I'd want to be able to provide, luxuries and stuff that me and my family have become used to. So I'd have to sort of beat my current wage. For me, at the moment, I don't work. Like, once I'm inoculated and the whole COVID thing sort of not dead and gone out of the water, because it's never going to be gone, and that's what people don't seem to get. But once it's calmed down to a point where it's essentially a cold or like the flu, you have to get a jab once a year or something, then I'm probably going to go back into retail, just because I've done a couple jobs here and there in other, like, I'm a mechanic by trade, and I've done a couple mechanics things here and there, and I didn't like the atmosphere in a garage. I didn't like. You'd have.
Yeah, I've worked in a few dealerships in my time, and it can be.
You'd have mechanics who knew more than you, who would treat you like shit, because they're like, you're dumb, sort of thing. You don't know how to do this. And it's like, motherfucker, I could probably. So like one of the things is like my previous employer before I became unemployed last year. Luckily, just before all this kicked off with COVID and stuff, I like finished at the end of January and just like he hadn't paid me correctly, so I just turned around and went, "Yep, fuck this, I'm out." So one of the things he was like, "Oh well, I'm putting you in for an apprenticeship and all this, that, and the other," and treating me like I didn't know shit. So like simple things like an oil change or brake pads change. He was getting one of the more qualified mechanics to do it, knowing full well I could do it, and then talking to me like I didn't know how to do it. And I'm like, motherfucker.
Right.
And he didn't know how to change a tire. So it's like, motherfucker, I could probably change a tire faster than you could change those brakes, and you're trying to tell me I don't know what I'm doing. Like, dude.
It doesn't breed enthusiasm in you, does
exactly.
it, when somebody undermines you like
so I basically and then it was the same with, you know, misogynistic stuff. Women come into the garage, all of a sudden they have no idea what they're talking about. They could be a mechanic themselves and just not say anything, and they would talk down to them like they had no idea. So I really did not like it. Really did not like it. So I vowed I'd never.
Well, it sounds like you're better off out of there, dude.
Yeah.
There is I mean, if you don't want to be directly involved with the garage, like service advisors, service liaisons, that sort of thing, is always a good option, because you're kind of in retail, yet you're still connected to the mechanical side of things.
Yeah, that's one thing I loved, because I used to work, like when I left college after doing my mechanics qualification. Funny enough, when my son was born, because it was like, all right, I need to find a fucking job because my fiance is pregnant with my son. I worked for Shell. One of the things I did there was forecourt attendancy. So it's more common in the US, but we had it here in a couple of the stations in Nottingham for Shell UK. And so obviously, for anybody who doesn't know, you go to a customer when they pull up to the pump and ask them if they want you to fill up for them. And then obviously if they say yeah, you say, oh, how much would you like? And then this, that, and the other. There's a whole, you know, script that goes along with it. But part of doing that was checking their oil as well, checking their water levels, under the bonnet checks, essentially. And then also trying to promote the premium brand fuel, you know. Don't just go and have Shell's unleaded, have Shell's V-Power unleaded.
Yeah.
And so one of the things
and did you enjoy that?
Yeah, I like really enjoyed that because of the fact that I was able to turn around to people and say, you know, I'm using my mechanics qualification for one, obviously doing the under bonnet checks and stuff. But then also I could turn around, even if somebody didn't want me to do under bonnet checks and wanted me to fill up for them, I could say, right, would you like the unleaded or the V-Power unleaded, or would you like the diesel or V-Power diesel? Because and then they go, oh, well, what's the benefits? And I could just reel them off like that because one, obviously, I know the benefits from what I've been taught as part of my training with regards to Shell, but then also I can turn around and go, listen, I'm an honest person in the sense of if they told me to tell you it cleans your engine and it didn't actually clean your engine, I would tell you there's no fucking benefit. Don't do it. But at the same time, I'm mechanic trained, so when they say, oh, it cleans your engine and this is how it does it, and then they show us like a video, and then I've got customers coming back that have tried it for one time in a month when it was, you know, they used to do V-Power days where they would charge the same price as the normal unleaded for the premium stuff, and people would go, oh, I tried it once 6 months ago, it cleaned my engine out, great, I'm going to keep trying it like either once a month or every 6 months or whatever. I was like, you know, even if you do that, like, you're going to notice a difference in
I think I've heard people say that before, like, oh, I'll put a tank of like super unleaded through it once a month or something like that.
Yeah, so that was one of the things that I loved doing, because people would go, oh, you're a mechanic, are you? Oh, so I can trust what you're saying. You know what I mean? But nah, my best job was I actually worked for Game back when the original Xbox One and PS4 came out. So I worked the midnight release of both of those. Oh god, that was fun. Alright, let me look at our list here real quick. We've covered your Twitch history, covered the Guardian mental health live stream, stuff that's going off at the weekend. So I think we're good to move on to the Twitch topics, Kit, unless you've got any more questions about the Twitch history and stuff for Wig.
I don't have any more specific questions. No. I think we could probably move on to the Twitch topics. To be honest, he's given us a great story to go with. So
yeah. So one of the things we wanted to cover was there's a couple of threads Kit had found. Well, 2 links specifically. One being on Twitter, which is Log Power Save responding to Tamsin Wood, who is somebody I actually follow on Twitch, but I had for some reason don't follow on Twitter.
I can't take credit for this one. I think you put it in there.
Did I?
Yep.
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I remember now. Because I was saying, there is a lot of people who are out there who don't understand. I remember now why I put it in. Who don't understand Twitch, like, at all, and just think like either they do it themselves in the case of this particular person and how it connects to Tamsin and then Log commenting on it, or it's people outside of the Twitch space who, you know, believe, like, I don't know, let's say Kit, your sister, for argument's sake, might think, oh, Kit goes on the Twitch Pro website, he's watching this female streamer, oh, he must be infatuated with her and must want to be, you know, in a relationship, blah, 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 you know what I mean? And I want to get this out there for as many people as possible. That is not what the fucking platform is for. Like, we are, as streamers, we are essentially the new TV. Like, you want top tier PvP fucking gameplay in Destiny, go and watch someone like Lysis, go and watch someone like GXR Clyde, and, you know, all these people that are well known for PvP. You don't want that, and you want to watch someone run a raid? Hell, go and watch Grandad Gaming. Go and watch Baggy Noodle Arms. Like, do you know what I mean? Go and watch Chaps 28 or Pigeon. People who run raids and run GMs religiously. They're the PvE, you know, staple. That is 2 different perspectives. You might want to watch Coronation Street one night, and then the next night you don't want to watch it. You want to watch EastEnders. Yes, they're on at different times, so you could watch both technically, but they're on different channels. That's my point. You don't want to watch PvP in Destiny 2. You go and watch a PvE streamer in Destiny 2 because you want to watch Destiny 2 for whatever reason. You just switch channel, do you not? We are essentially the new TV. You don't go and watch TV and see the weather woman and go, do you know what? I'm gonna go out on a limb and like pester the out of her until I get her to go on a date with me on Twitter or any other social media platform. And yes, I'm ranting a bit right now, but it just irks the life out of me.
Yeah, it's multifaceted, that point. Firstly, I just want to clarify my position. There is no room, no excuse or exception why you should be trying to get romantically involved with somebody on Twitch. It ain't Tinder. It's not. It's not even Tinder. It's not even a comparator. It's not a dating site. It's not somewhere you should really be going to try and seek out some kind of relationship. I mean, you know, that just makes people feel uncomfortable. It can be rude. It can be threatening in some instances. People can get very insecure, very scared by it. I've witnessed it in some streams firsthand. People just being creepy and weird, and it's freaked them out. Like, the streamers, it's really freaked them out. They lose all train of thought. They stop relaxing. They stop enjoying themselves. So there's no real excuse for that. In terms of watching somebody it's a really tough one because you say about weather girls and that kind of thing. Most weather girls are pretty girls. That's just a
Yeah.
fact.
Yeah.
There's a reason for that. You know, shows like I don't know, but just in general, if you see somebody on Twitch and you find them attractive, be it boy, girl, whatever, whoever, I think you are probably a little bit more likely to watch them for a little bit. If they are attractive, to you, specifically to you. I'm not
Yeah.
talking about if they're attractive in general, because attractive has very many different guises, and what you find attractive, I may not, and vice versa. So I think if you just find someone easy on the eye, you can spend a little more time watching them. I think people that
It's like that
cross that
saying, isn't it?
boundary, I think that is where things get weird.
It's like that saying, though, isn't it? Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So
Yeah,
if
100%, 100%.
you
There's
you
somebody for everybody out there.
you might be married to someone and all your friends are there going, "Oh, well, your wife is an absolute dumpster bucket. Like, she's ugly as fuck, whatever." But you might think she's the most beautiful person in the world. Like, that's the
That's all
whole.
that matters.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's all that matters. You are the one that's in the relationship with them, not anybody else.
Mm.
But yeah, like,
But I just got a quick look at Tamsin's post there. Some people join your community because become your friend only to see you as a romantic option. Like, I can't understand how people would ever think, like, going on Twitch and talking to somebody in chat, how that's ever going to turn into anything. What do they think is going to happen? She's just going to, like, oh, sorry guys, I need to log off. Right, send me your address. I'm coming over. Like, it's just
isn't it? Yeah.
that is just so far removed from reality. But unfortunately, some people sit in front of their screens all day, every day. They don't really have much else going on in their life. They see these girls, or it may be men as well. It can be both, and they think, "Oh, I've got a chance." Like, dude, you have no chance. Like, stop being weird. Like, just stop.
Yeah, to be honest as
And
well, I wanna just add in as well. Although we haven't got it on here, Katie Cat went through something similar recently.
oh yeah,
And she was clarifying on her stream the other day as to why, like, basically 75% of her mods just disappeared, and
yeah,
ceased to be mods. And then there was some that ceased to be mods and became VIPs because, you know, they still stuck around in the stream. But
yeah.
one in particular basically approached her trying to be, like, romantically involved with her, and because she turned them down, like, a whole shitstorm kicked up. And it's like,
Yeah.
people who hate on you will look for any particular reason, any which reason to so one of the things that they mentioned was, like, oh, she wasn't looking after herself properly and doing all this, that, and the other. And so yeah, she appreciates them looking out for her, but then it's like possessive almost. Oh, you can't eat this because you not looking after yourself. No, let the person do what everybody live their life how they want, essentially,
Yeah.
within the parameters of the law. And I said this on, like, I think the podcast with Lee, if I remember correctly. Kit, you might remember better than I can, when we were talking about, like, Black Lives Matter and stuff. Not comparing the two, in any way, because obviously they're very different subjects. But the way I see it is, let people live their lives and be who they want to be, as long as it's within the parameters of the law and ain't hurting anybody else. Like, if I want to go and eat nothing but McDonald's for the rest of my life, for the rest of, like, every day, 3 meals a day, and I get fat as fuck because, processed foods, etc. There's a bunch of scientific research that shows fast food is no good for you, and I've worked in fast food, so I know. But then that should be my decision to do that, and that if someone like Kit, who is my friend, or you, Wig, because I consider you a friend as well, or Otis, anyone that like is regularly hanging out with me, playing games with me, and I would say, yo, what's going on, bud? Like, do you want a game? If one of you approached me and said, okay, dude, I think you're probably taking this a little too far and you might want to cut back. And then I looked at it and went, oh, okay. I appreciate your point of view, but no, I'm going to do me. If any of you like continue to push the point, then I'm just going to, the type of person I am, and I get that feeling from Katie as well. I'm just gonna, and it's typical for most humans, to be honest. I'm just gonna rebel and go, fuck it, I'm gonna do it anyway. Like, do you know what I mean? So if you're actually looking out for them, point it out once. They turn around and go, no, I'm good. You wait until it's quite obvious that they are, harming themselves in some way, and then you go, look, I tried to talk to you about this months ago or weeks ago or whatever it is. At least give it a month or two. Do you know what I mean? And then go, try to talk to you about this. I felt like you were essentially on a self-destructive path. And now you've basically just done something blatantly obvious, and I want you to see it. If not, then it's on you, sort of thing. But I really care for you, and this is me sort of showing you. I need you to sort of try and sort it out, if you will. But no, apparently this person was like hella possessive and stuff. I don't know. I've only read things and heard from Katie on her stream, and I wasn't there around the thing that it was happening. So I can't. I saw 100%.
No, I saw a little bit of it, and I don't want to talk out of turn. Cat's dealt with it, and
yeah, exactly. As far as like people let it deal with it, yeah.
I don't think anything like that should ever be brought into the public space. If you have a personal grievance with somebody, this is me. This is my view.
That's it, isn't it? If you've got a personal grievance with someone, it's personal. Keep it between you.
The only way I would ever put something out into the public space is if I felt I had a moral or ethical obligation to make other people, for either their safety or somebody else's, aware of the situation. That's the only time I'd put it out in the public space.
Like somebody's somebody's a murderer and they're about to move in with your best friend. Like, hey, motherfucker.
Obviously, I won't put it on Twitter. I'd probably ring the police at that point. But yeah, as an example, yeah, exactly. I mean, if I have a problem with you, you're gonna know about it just because I will confront you about it. I'm a grown adult. I've never been scared to say what I think, and I will just come to you and say, look, this is an issue for me. Can we talk about it? And we deal with it and we move on. I don't hold a grudge, man. I used to hold a grudge, but I'm kind of over that now. I'm kind of a bit. I'm more likely, depending on what it is, obviously. I'm a lot more forgiving now than what I used to be. So I don't hold a grudge. I don't want people to suffer through things all their life with. Yeah, I've been through all that, and it's not nice to carry that shit around with you. You've got to learn to forgive people and just move on. And like Kat's done with that situation, should not have come out into the public space. She dealt with it brilliantly. She addressed it. She's clipped it for anybody that wants to watch it, and she's moved on. I speak to Kat on occasion, normally through DM, and she's fine. She's strong to a point, is Kat.
Yeah.
And then, like anybody.
Well, this is the thing. She was like,
I have a lot of admiration and respect for Kat.
The other day, she was on stream. She was addressing it, and she come to like towards the end of addressing it, and so she said, "Sorry guys, I had to address this." Blah blah blah. And then obviously you got everybody saying, "You don't need to say sorry," and all this, that, and the other. And I just typed in, and she turned around, and she picked it out, and she went, "You know what? Exactly, Intrepidus." And I said, "It's better you address it than just leave it and it blow up."
Yeah, exactly. Because
I mean,
she couldn't left that. She had to respond
because
to that.
then Chinese whispers happen, and something that is minute becomes a nuclear bomb.
Yeah. And the thing is, it was all there for everyone to see. Unfortunately, the guy had included some screenshots which had other people's name in and their thoughts and words that they'd said or sent to do with mod positions, etc. But I just think it should never have come into the public space. It did, unfortunately. Kat only found out because that person she's actually blocked previously. So Kat only found out because it was being mentioned in Twitter to her. And she's dealt with it. She's dealt with it professionally and moved on. And I think that's just the best thing to do. And
100%, I agree.
because she's dealt with it in such a good fashion, that's it now. It's done. And everything that was going on there, anybody that's actually lived their life for more than 5 minutes in the adult realm will know that all that stuff that was going on is part of relationships. Like not just boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. I'm talking friend relationships, just relationships in general. That shit goes on. You know that, and sometimes people feel like that, and other times they feel this way and that way, and but that's if you have those feelings, if you feel like you're on the receiving end or you're feeling negative about your position in that relationship, you don't fucking bring it to Twitter. Like, I don't know. I just would never do that. But it's dealt with. She's moved on. So.
But yeah. So on that same vein, Kit said in our document that we've got for the Rising Lights notes, this thread here kind of
along the same vein for that. Yeah. So
sort of.
Sorry. So rather large name. Attract a lot of attention. You tend to, Pokemon. You tend to get a lot of people come in and either trolling or like sort of being weird in general.
7.5 million followers.
Yes, but that tends to have either with herself or a team of mods ending up with a lot of people just straight up being banned for being weird. And one of her streams, she was doing an unban request broadcast. She does them sometimes where, like, people send a message, be like, "Why haven't I been banned? I should have been banned. This is the reason why," and stuff. And some of them are like, "Okay, fair enough."
Yeah.
And some of them you find things like this little quote here. A lot of bots. Normal users maybe 350k. Not including bots, that's crazy. Like 350,000 banned users.
That's banned users?
Yes.
What?
Holy shit.
That aren't bots.
Good God.
Like,
I mean, with a stat line like 7.5 million followers, though, like, I'm not surprised. There's what?
No.
6 or 7 billion people on the planet?
So like 5% of the follower base?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's ginormous. It's a huge amount of people.
The other point to bring out here was immediately below that line was the amount of genuine users blocked from a chat pale in comparison to the number of bots, which was estimated at 10 million.
Wow.
Just the sheer number of accounts that have been burned by bots. Just churning through them one after the other after the other.
That's absolutely crazy. I mean, the strain that must put on Twitch. And,
this is a partnered streamer. I think what you was about to say, the amount of strain that fucking the bots put on Twitch and their API. The whole subsystems that go into it. And she's got 10 million bots that are like banned.
Yeah.
Like,
it's crazy. It's
Twitch.
insane.
What are Twitch playing at? Like,
well, I think obviously they've caught them, they've banned them. The issue really stems 2 or 3 steps back from that. Is these accounts are being made, just generated automatically, normally with no human interaction. These accounts are just churned out every single day, tens and tens of thousands of bot accounts. And that's where they need to get a hold of it. At that point, banning them, for me, in my opinion, that's too late. There has to be some way they can reduce the amount of bot accounts that are being created before it gets to that point. Because you think if that's 10 million accounts that are banned, just think of the amount of server space that's taking up, having 10 million blank accounts, just bot accounts, just sat in the directory. Sat on the server. and that's just for Pokemon. So you imagine other users, I don't know, just any of the big, any of the streamers, like it must be tens and tens and tens of millions of accounts just made with nothing happening, just bot accounts. It's crazy.
And then the other thing is you got to think of they don't have verified emails, right? So those of us that want to just not have them come up, like you see a lot of people will ban links in their chat so that obviously the bots come in, they get bopped instantly. You get a lot of people who will have links allowed because they want the community to share, you know, clips and stuff from not only, so like Kit, for instance, has his bot set so that if you've been watching for an hour, I think it is, or a predetermined amount of time, I can't remember exactly, and I don't want Kit to sort of say, yes, it's an hour, or no, it's, you know, because people could make use of that.
I think it might be 2. But I was in the middle of writing a new version of the bot. So like that one was running using Streamlabs chatbot, was what I used. And I was in the middle of writing a program to sort of handle my bot and my overlay that I could just leave running on a VPS and just, you know, not have to worry about having about 7 different programs open whenever I want to stream. And what I was doing with that one was removing the requirement to have to have watched for any amount of time, but having a domain whitelist. So it would only allow links from Twitch clips, my website, the US website for making sound requests. There are a few others, but I can't remember them all.
Yeah, but my point was like your predetermined time thing. You have to basically essentially block links, right?
Yeah.
And then you've got people like me who are like, I don't give a fuck about links, like, but at the same time, I don't want them bots coming in, so I just turn on verified email address. But then you have situations like Fiend had it the other month, where we were playing Destiny together, and one of his friends were chatting in chat, and then a bot came up, and Fiend turned around and went, "You see that bot right there? That's because you can't." Like talking to his friend, he says, "You can't verify your email address. Like if you could verify your email address, I could have a verified email on, and that wouldn't happen." Like, I'm not blaming you, but obviously because of the setting, I can't stop that from coming through straight away. Me, on the other hand, I have that set up, and if anybody doesn't have a verified email address, sorry, can't talk in my chat. Like,
yeah, it's probably a good idea. It's something I should look at. I do get the odd bots coming in, but the size of my channel at the moment, it's I just ban them and that's it. I mean, you know, it's as things progress, then I may put something else.
Yeah, our friend Severs, who we had on episode 2 of the podcast, he sort of makes a big laugh and joke about it. So he's like, "All right, everybody, get your bop emotes ready," because obviously you type capital BOP and it gives you a hammer as an emote. It's a Twitch global emote. So he says, "Everybody, get your bop emotes ready. 3, 2, 1." And then as he clicks the ban to, you know, get rid of the message, everybody posts bop.
So he kind of makes an event out of it. That's pretty cool.
So, you know, it's how you approach it. But personally, I'm just like, I can't be bothered to deal with this. Fuck this shit.
It's a definite issue. I mean, in terms of just going back to the Pokemon article, I don't know. Obviously, Twitch will have people constantly trying to fight these bot accounts and coming up with ways to block them, to stop them being created, while still allowing us the freedom to create a new account, or maybe we don't want to verify our email, maybe we don't want to share our email. You know, we are genuine users, but we maybe don't want to hand out all this double security information to them. So it's finding that balance, and I don't envy them because it is one hell of a task. But something definitely needs to be done. Um, especially, I think some of the bot accounts, some of the things that they put forward goes completely against Twitch's terms of service. So, you know,
Yeah.
botting for followers, botting for subscribers, for viewers. You know, so they've got to try and get a handle on it somehow, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So moving forward, we've got Final Fantasy 14. Oh, let me get rid of that.
That was rather blunt, but I couldn't really think of anything else to go with. So you know,
Final Fantasy 14's director spent 7 hours baking cookies, drinking wine, and playing Final Fantasy 14 on Twitch.
I think that's awesome.
the bit I like is that second image. If you scroll down a little,
So his character and him.
Yeah, so he had a matching apron with the character.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Is that his VR avatar?
No, that's his character in the game.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
But yeah, he played Final Fantasy 14 with his free company, which is their version of Clans, if I remember correctly. Running Unreal Titan. And with a few wipe along the way, so it's, I'm guessing, one of the raids in the game. And then he wrapped up stream with what appears to be a Q&A. And he streamed for 7 hours, 15 minutes. I think we have developer streams, you know, Outriders did one to sort of do, here's what's going to be happening with regards to the demo. And then, you know, progress in the demo going over to the main game. We have, you know, your Nintendo, what they call directs, I believe, and then they get sometimes they get like developers to come on and take over. You had Monster Hunter World did their developer dive things where they had the developers come on and green screened into environments in the game and talk about what was going on with Iceborne when it was coming out. Obviously, Bungie do them periodically, and we're going to get onto that in a while when we cover the TWAB. Because they did another one this week, which was to do with the Presage mission. So I just think a lot more devs, and even if they don't do it to sort of, you know, be a hobby or be a part, like become a partner, and you know, they want to leave developer in and become a streamer, like even if it's just like an inside of, okay, I'm playing, like, so this guy, I'm the director of Final Fantasy 14, I'm gonna go and play Final Fantasy 14, people can come in and ask me questions about the game, and I will do my best to answer them. Like, there's a reason I include that at the end, is because I deep dive into the lore and you know, history with regards to like how a game was made and stuff like that a lot of the time. So if people ask me a question, do you think this is more powerful than this? It's like, well, if I've particularly heard something along the lines of, you know, in testing they tried, I don't know, ability B is more powerful than ability A in testing, so they nerfed ability B, and now in the main game ability A is more powerful, and then you come, but it's not that much more powerful, so you come in and ask me, oh, is ability A more powerful than ability B? Then I turn around and go, well, yeah, but not by much. And then, you know, oh, well, in testing I heard that this is what happened, and you know, I love sharing that sort of knowledge with people, and I think more of that that's done by developers, the more that it arms people who are like us playing the game as a streamer, you know, content creator in general, with talking points, for argument's sake. with community members and stuff, and it also brings forward questions from community members to put forward to streamers. Oh, well, what so and so said this. What if this wasn't the case and it was this? What would you think? Do you know what I mean? And I think it can be great for conversation, but
I think they're good. I think they're worth doing. Yeah, I think it's I don't know why they do them really. I think it's a good insight as a player. It gives you a good insight, like with with Bungie's Destiny's
yeah.
deep dives.
Like, I get the
You know,
company ones. I get the company ones of that, but I'm saying like if you had DMG for
like
instance, community manager, come on and stream. Like for one, a lot of people are going to watch because they want to see how good he is at the game that he works for the company for. Because a lot of people think that community managers are developers, and so that when they play them in trials or something and shit on them, they go, haha, you're shit at your own game, I'm better than you. It's like, they're community manager. Their literal job is to be a correspondent between the community, which is supposed to be you, being a little shit, and the developers. They're not the ones that make the fucking game.
They are purely liaison officers.
Exactly.
That's all they are. I say all they are, but I think it's a very
it's very stressful. I can tell you that.
Very stressful. A lot of responsibility as well. And they are responsible for passing feedback on. So not all feedback is going to be good. I think there is a way you should deliver bad feedback, and it's not by hell and abuse at people.
Yeah.
I just think they get a bad rap sometimes. It's definitely a difficult job. One I would love to do. I would love to be a community manager for a studio or something like that. It would be fantastic. But at the same time, it's par for the course. Unfortunately, not everybody has a full brain in their head. People think shouting abuse and calling people this and that is going to instantly change the game overnight. Well, that's not how it works, unfortunately. And they're not really responsible for making any decisions in terms of the game either. The path the game is taking, the development of characters. They are purely.
They might.
I mean, they will give.
They might hear a few things a few months in advance, so they might hear it the previous week to when we hear it as players of the game. Like sometimes I've known it in the past. I can't remember what game it was, but they literally found out about a developer made choice to change a character was passed to the community manager literally 2 hours before the game went live, or when the update went live. And it's like, how are they supposed to prep for the influx of players going, oh well, this character isn't what I expected, right? And like you said, hurling abuse. Speaking of abuse, Kit was wondering how I was gonna transition from that one to this one.
I'm still wondering. Where's the rest of it?
So speaking of abuse, a lot of the time people abuse April Fool's jokes to make little announcements, thinking they won't be taken seriously. Now, one was taken seriously, although as Kit isn't serious, and as Kit said in our doc, an entirely expected April 1st joke, April Fool's joke. And it's that Google was to buy Twitch and merge it with YouTube.
Oh, wow.
Which is actually genius, to be honest. For one, Amazon would never let go of Twitch. Let's face it.
What did they say? I would have read that and seen the 80 billion and immediately disregarded that.
Yeah.
Because that would have given them a complete monopoly on the all of it. And that's worth a lot more than 80 billion.
Yeah. And aside from the tags at the top and at the bottom, and there is if you scroll down a bit, Trap, there is a blue box that explains that it's satire. But it's one of those things where people don't necessarily read the things. They just sort of scroll past things on the Google feed or whatever.
Yeah.
They don't actually bother clicking on to read what's going on. They just see the headline and go, "Oh."
That's a good one though. Jeez, that's a big one. That's a big one. Yeah. I think I got hook, lined, and sinkered by one this year. You might, do you know Fade that plays Apex?
No, I don't.
Fade,
I've heard you speak.
F-A-I-D.
I've heard you
Yeah, you
speak
should
about
check him
him.
out. That's not a plug, by the way. I don't know him. I'm not associated with him. I'm not friends with him. I just follow his content and admire his play style. But he announced that he got signed by FaZe Clan, and the week before he was like hinting, like shooting his shot with them, saying, "Oh, sign me," and I think they should sign him because he's nuts.
Well, I mean, there's other huge teams in Apex. We've covered it a few times when we've talked about the ALGS, because I've got a friend who's like, I would say he's semi-pro because he's not salaried, but he's playing in pro lobbies in ALGS. He's getting into finals and playing against pro teams that are salaried. Him and his teammates get raided on a regular because of the mutual respect that pros have for them. Get raided by pro Apex players that are salaried and on teams. So my friend John Kotogami, he got raided the other week by Snipe Down. That then resulted in him doing like a 12 to 14 hour, I think it was, stream. Because he didn't want to, go, "Oh, I just got raided by Snipe Down like an hour ago. Yeah, I'm just gonna end." It's like, I'm riding this high and I'm gonna keep riding it until it like dies down, you know what I mean? And so he screwed up his sleep schedule. He's had his fun. He got a few people who was like, "Yo, I'm glad Snipe brought me here. You're cracked as fuck." But yeah, Snipe Down is an ex-Halo pro who now plays Apex for TSM. And TSM was in Call of Duty at one point. I think they're in Fortnite, which FaZe was in at one point, and FaZe was in Call of Duty and still is. We're under the Atlanta FaZe brand. NRG also has a team, NRG Apex, which NRG co-owner Andy Miller is like the CEO, and then co-CEO is Hex Rodriguez. A lot of people will recognize that name because he was the CEO of Optic, and then obviously lost Optic to Immortals, and now has bought it back. So like Optic Chicago in Call of Duty is, technically NRG in Call of Duty. So, and like I said, my friend's playing these players. So you imagine if they FaZe brought on Fade, it's like, oh, well, now they're just stepping into another esport. And if he wanted to play in their pro team, he probably could. Like, do you know what I mean?
I've seen him wipe TSM squads. Like, he's nuts, dude. Honestly, check him out. But what I was saying was, anyway, he said he was trying to get in with them, and then he dropped this tweet saying he was now part of FaZe Clan. And I was like, dude, I commented and I was like, "Oh, congrats, that's fucking awesome, sick." And then about a minute later, it just dawned on me, and I went back onto my Twitter and I put, "If this is an April Fool's joke, then rip me." And like that little tweet got like 200 likes. Like everyone knew I'd been done. Hook, line, and sinker. But yeah, that Google and Twitch one, that would be a big old purchase.
Well, you can imagine as well, like if they were to merge them, Twitch's live streaming stuff is on record one of the best, like the best, right? And YouTube's kind of getting there, but it's not the best. Like, it's not 100%. Do you know what I mean? But then on the flip side, Twitch's VODs and like uploading videos, nobody thinks Twitch and upload videos. They all think YouTube, I'll upload a video. Although it is possible for anybody who is listening, you can upload videos that you have recorded and made outside of a live stream to Twitch. Like, it is a thing, but they don't, they're not advertising this fact because it's not their cornerstone of the market. Live streaming is. The same with YouTube. They started off as a video service and then have added live streaming. So when YouTube gaming became a thing, they sort of announced, oh yeah, you can live stream on YouTube, but even people
a lot of people are doing well on YouTube, aren't they? I mean, look at Courage. You've got Dr. Disrespect now.
Speaking of Courage, he and Valkyrie have just become co-owners of 100 Thieves.
Yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool. But I think YouTube are closer to the golden egg than what Twitch are. I think YouTube's they've got a
if you was to say
a much bigger viewer base in terms of people that use the
if I was to use percentages in in relation to live streaming on one side and video on the other, I would say that regards to live streaming, Twitch is probably about 90%, right? And it'll probably still forever be 90%, between 90 and 95. Because there's always something that comes up, a new feature that somebody thinks of that you can add in, and it will make the experience a little better for the viewers or the broadcaster. And I would say that YouTube's probably about 70%, maybe 60. Yeah. If I was going to be,
I would maybe say 70.
If I was going to be sort of pessimistic, I would say 60. But because there are certain things that are there on Twitch, but there are other things that aren't there that Twitch has, that make Twitch sort of overall a better experience. Live wise, YouTube.
I mean, you've also got Facebook now as well.
Yeah,
you've got some huge people streaming on Facebook.
But video wise, I would say Twitch is probably at like 40% because it's an option. You can do it. You can get people who might want to watch content after you've gone live.
Yeah, I mean, I do watch some VODs. I watch quite a lot of VODs. I'll tune into Maze's VODs because he streams normally when I'm sort of wrapping it up.
Whilst we're on that subject, anyone who is affiliate or partner, right? Unless there is absolute need for whatever reason for you to make it so that your VODs are subscriber only, do not do it. Imagine I meet you on Twitter. I met Wig on Twitter. Did I not, Wig?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
I'm like, oh, maybe I want to play with this dude. Maybe I want to play with this chick. Maybe I want to play with what any sort of label you want to give yourself. Like, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I want to try and cover all the bases. Oh, they've got a Twitch link in their Twitter bio. Okay, I'm gonna go and check them out. And then I get there and it says, this content can only be viewed by subscribers. I'm like, what the fuck? You want me to pay you so I can watch previous content that you've... Nah. That shit doesn't work. Nah. I'm instantly going to turn around and go, yeah, never want to play with this motherfucker ever again. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, like, and going back to the percentages thing, YouTube, I'd say, on a video standpoint, is very much Twitch. So if you like add them sort of together though, YouTube as a whole is ahead. You're probably at about 140%, whereas Twitch is probably at like 130, 120, like combined with the two percentages from one side being live streaming, other one being video. So yeah, they are very much, I agree, very much close to the golden egg. Than Twitch.
Yeah, I think YouTube's probably like 75% video, 20, maybe 80% video, 20% streaming. I think Twitch is probably, like I say, 90% live, 10% people use for VODs.
Yeah.
Maybe 15%. But yeah,
But yeah,
I do like to catch up with some VODs. I think
my
it's
little
a
rant there
definite
was
value
literally
connect.
my little rant there as well was literally just VODs are a tool for you to get more people to come and watch you potentially, more people to hang out with. But in the case of me and Wig, we're both streamers. Same with Kit. Like, you know, more people to game and co-stream with and have a good laugh and chill and hang out and, you know, how I
On the
met
flip
Sev.
side of the coin, if I may just for a second, on the flip side of the coin, I think if your channel has a lot of subscribers and 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 most of your channel is subscription based, or you have a heavy amount or a large amount of subscriptions, then I think sometimes people do that, and I don't think it should ever be done. I don't think you should ever paywall your content, period. Um, but I know that some people's train of thought, incorrectly in my opinion, is they're trying to add more value for their subscribers.
Yeah.
Now, I kind of understand. I understand the concept of adding more value for your paid subscribers. I get that 100%. Putting your content behind a paywall like that is probably detrimental to your channel. 'Cause if somebody wants to come, like you're saying, just check you out. Oh, this guy's not live. I've heard things about him. I'll watch a VOD. And then I'll
Yep.
decide if I want to subscribe to him. Well, if you can't watch the VOD, I'm literally just clicking on somebody else.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely a foolish move in my opinion.
Ideal examples I was about to get into before you said, like, if you may. I met Sev, who we mentioned earlier in the podcast. We had him on episode 2 of this podcast, this like series of podcasts. I met him through a Glad promotional tweet. So Glad put out a tweet saying, you know, people go follow each other, like promote yourself, promote a couple of streamers that you like, whatever it may be. So I put a bunch of people in there, and obviously I was like, a long shot, but if you ever want to check me out, I'm here as well. And then Sev commented like, dude, I just checked out some of your VODs, like, oh, I know. He said, I've just followed you. I look forward to checking out a live stream when you're next live. And I was live the very next day. I knew I was going live
awesome.
knew I was going live the very next day. So I was like, okay, does this guy stream as well? Because obviously he's got he had the Twitch the Twitter profile of, oh, you know, the logo or whatever. So I was like, does this guy stream as well? So I looked, I seen his Twitch link. I was like, do you know what? He didn't mention it, but I went in and I like watched a VOD, and I was watching it because at the time I smoked. I watched it on my smoke break as well, because I used to smoke and have a smoke break during my streams. About 2 hours in, I'd go out for smoke, come back in. You know, I was gone for like 10 minutes maybe. But yeah, I was chilling, watching him, and watching his VOD because he's California. He's 8 hours behind me. The likelihood of me catching him live is next to never. But yeah, and then basically he came in my chat later on in like towards the end of my stream, and he says, "Hey dude, I'm really enjoying your content. I'd like to call you a friend, and maybe we can game sometime." I was like, "Yeah, sure." You know, I noticed as well from your like going through and checking you out on Twitter when you commented on my tweet on Glad's promotion thing that you also stream, and I checked you out and I hit you up with a follow because I liked the content that I watched. Like, it was all of like 20-30 minutes, but you seem like a kind of guy I could vibe with and chill with and hang out with. So, you know, I'm gonna hit you with a follow. Like, that's the sort of person I am. I'm not ever oh, okay, you follow me, I'll follow you. Like, follow for follow, never. Like, if I find your content entertaining at first, and then later on down the line, I come in and like, you know what, I don't even know what I ever saw in this person, then I'll probably just unfollow, and that's the last you'll hear of me. I won't kick up a stink about it. I won't try and like get you to change your content in any way. But, you know, typically if you're on my following list, I enjoy your shit. Or I have been like one of my friends who I do enjoy. So Lee for instance, raided somebody, I follow them because, you know, going in, raiding, nice. When for Lee to feel like a lot of his community are connecting, but me myself, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna watch. Then after a while, if I like vibe with the person, I'll follow, and then I'll go back at a later time when they're streaming, and I'll watch them and see if it's somebody I personally could raid. And in fact, Pigeon was talking about giving somebody some tips yesterday or today in his chat. No, it was yesterday in his chat. And was talking amongst ourselves, and then I turned around and went, I literally put, how Pitch found out I streamed. I hung out here for 3 months, enjoyed the vibe, decided to raid him at the end of one of my streams. That's how he found out I streamed. Never once did I mention to him I streamed. Because I'm not gonna fucking do the passive promote thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. It's
if I'm in comms with you and you're streaming, then the likelihood is if you say something to your chat, I'm personally, at least I know a lot of people go, oh, I'm gonna mute and talk to my chat. Obviously that's a respect thing, and I think it's quite, you know, noble and stuff, but at the same time, me personally, I'm like, talk away to your chat. Like, I want my chat to know you stream, because then maybe they'll go and follow you. Or when I finish my stream, I'm gonna raid you anyway, so the likelihood is people are gonna know you stream from my chat. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
At least then, if they're here and you're sort of like having a laugh with your chat or whatever, and then that, you know, you raid them, they're sort of in already.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, they know what's going on.
But yeah, with that said, I am conscious that we are getting low on time already. Fucking hell.
Yep.
Let's blast through these last couple Twitch topics so we can get onto the Destiny ones. Non-binary Twitch streamer creating an alternative emotes. Pepe the frog, because apparently Pepega was used by alt-right stream, like, so they began banning them. So this person decided, you know, they're used as a part of Twitch culture. Hey, Otis is in the chat. They were used as a part of Twitch culture, you know, kind of like PogChamp and that we covered earlier this year. And so this person was like, oh, we're going to make like froggy emotes that aren't Pepe the Frog, but they are, you know, correlation. Spoiler alert. Otis says, spoiler alert, I've been here the whole time. I kind of expected it, to be honest. Can't say I definitely expected it, but so yeah, I think that's. Go on,
I won't say I expected it, but I'm not surprised.
Yeah, there we go. That's the words I was. So yeah, I think this is a good thing. Anytime something is, you know, used in a hateful way to where people start banning it, there needs to be an alternative, in my opinion. And speaking of,
so what are they saying? I don't understand what the
apparently
why it was offensive.
There was alternative right leaning groups, so people that typically will not believe in, you know, trans rights or gay rights or etc.
Yeah,
using like feels bad and that. It was covered in a 4chan documentary of some sort.
Right. Okay.
I've got the link.
Yeah, I wouldn't really want to comment on that. I need to read it. I need to have a look at the.
Yeah, so obviously they're just making alternative substitutes, sort of thing.
Oh, that's cool. I think that's cool.
Yeah. So, and then speaking
Getting out of their life.
Yeah, speaking of hateful stuff, Twitch has updated the harassment and hateful conduct policy, which includes, you know, expanding their approach to off-service for enforcement. So, we all stream here. Otis is in my chat as well. Like, he streams. Essentially, from what I am gathering from this, off-services stuff like Twitter and stuff. You know, if I turn around and say you're a piece of shit and start harassing you on Twitter, then you can sort of report my account to Twitch and go, look, I've got this, and this from Twitter, and they will do something about it.
Yeah, so the what they're gonna be doing is sort of that, but not to that degree. So it's if you harass on Twitch and off Twitch, then you can use the off-service behaviors as evidence and stuff, and go, listen, this is what they're like, this is what they're doing.
Yeah,
you know, deal with it. So they'll take into account verifiable off-service behaviors as statements relating to incidents that took place on platform. So if they're doing an incident that happened live on stream, further harassment on Twitter could be used as evidence and taken into account and stuff.
Yeah.
And then the other category of off-service measures that they're taking is larger threats to Twitch community, even if none of it actually takes place on Twitch. So it's things like terrorist activities or recruiting, deadly violence and extremism, explicit and credible threats against Twitch and Twitch staff, things like that.
Which to me just makes sense. I don't think we really need to cover that all too much, other than
it's
a necessary step.
Reading it, but not necessarily that we can go through all of it right now in full.
Yeah,
I just wonder how they're going to gather that information.
They've got a specific email address that they can submit to.
Okay.
Which will then be reviewed by themselves and a third-party law
so
enforcement.
is it if somebody submits that information to Twitch and says sort of, look, this person has been involved with this?
Yeah.
Just to let you know, sort of thing.
Yeah, okay. And then Twitch and their law enforcement partners will look through it and go, okay, well, are they a threat? Are these incidents actually correlated? Because they could just be because there could be some random Twitter account that's trying to pose as this person.
Yeah.
So are they actually linked?
Getting on to the Twitter thing. Off of the Twitch thing even, and on to Destiny. We've got, they just buffed Fresh, so it now works in the Crucible, and it was not outlined in patch notes. Obviously, there's an article here from Paul Tassi. We love using Paul Tassi as a reference.
Yeah,
most people do within the Destiny community. To be fair,
he's a name people recognise, and he does cover a lot of Destiny stuff. So it's you'd be hard pressed to find a topic about Destiny 2 that he hasn't covered in some way.
Yeah, and how fast he writes these things up is crazy.
I honestly, when I was looking through this, I'd found topics that I usually filter my search by the past week and stuff, right?
Yeah,
and I'd found topics that we discussed on last week's podcast, had just gone up 2 hours ago.
Yeah,
some sites have either very very long editing processes and stuff, or they're just jumping on things that they've seen in their own searches and going, oh yeah, we need to make sure that's on our site as well, and just sort of rewriting it, if you will.
Yeah. All right, so moving on, we've got Destiny 2 and Outriders aren't in an arms race. I am needing the loo, so I'll let you sort of talk this through with Wiggy quickly, Kit, and I'll be back in literally a minute. So.
Okay, yeah. So basically, Outriders has just come out, so a lot of people are playing that because it's new, fresh content, and myself included. And there will be a proportion of the Destiny 2 player base that are doing that. And obviously, the more time you spend outside of Destiny, the more time you think, okay, I should really be logging in and doing, my weeklies or whatever. And then obviously you've got things that well, I could be going and doing my weeklies on Destiny, making sure that I'm all got all my loot and I make sure I do all the GMs and everything. But then I'm not spending time over here in this game where my friends are playing and they're going through all the levels. I was playing more. I don't even have that many more hours in than Trep, but I was ahead of him in the campaign and stuff by quite a bit for a while. And that was because he was off. He was going on and doing raids and things. And obviously he has kids and stuff, and I don't. And while obviously we can't just directly compare the two games, because one's a live service, loot shooter, first person, the other one's third person. It's like, there's your content, that's it, pretty much.
I'm back.
But it's in a time where you've got sort of 2, 3, maybe 4 games that are all vying for your attention. Striking the right balance so you don't lose out on any of them becomes a real puzzle.
Yeah, it can do, definitely. I think, I don't know, me with Destiny at the moment, I'm kind of, I'll probably log into Destiny tonight, and I'll probably jump back onto Apex for a little bit, and I'm fine with that. I think it is a tough one because you do feel like you're missing out sometimes, especially where Destiny is concerned. That feeling of missing out has been huge since the game launched. But I think recently, with the recent update where they took away the weekly bounties for Bright Dust and that kind of thing, I think they've done a really good job at kind of squashing that a little bit.
Yeah. They're allowing the seasonal content to stick around all year as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they've done a really good job with all of that.
To me, that allows me to turn around and go, okay, I don't need to play Destiny as much as I used to. I can enjoy other games.
That's it. And when I go back to Destiny, like at the weekend, did some GMs with a couple of your guys, and it was amazing. I had a really, really, really good time. It didn't feel forced, or I didn't feel pressured into playing it, and I played it because I wanted to play the game. And I think what Bungie need to realize, they just need to relax. They've got such a good game. Nothing plays like Destiny. Like, it plays so well. They've got the story, the history, the characters, the narrative is picking up. They just need to chill. Just let these other games exist. Let people go out and play whatever they want to play. People will always come back to Destiny because whichever way you cut it, it's a bloody good game.
Well, the other thing is as well is I've seen an article, which might have been how we ended up coming to like kit finding this one. I can't remember, but I seen an article. Actually, no, because I never put it in the doc. I was going to put it in the doc. Kit, but I saw an article basically Outriders can't escape the D2 comparison, right? So it was people going, oh well, this is like Destiny from Outriders, this is like Destiny from Outriders, and people were playing it like it's Destiny. And as Kit pointed out, as I just got back, it's not a live service game like Destiny. People are going, oh well, let's hope that Outriders doesn't prove to be, a 1-week wonder like Avengers. As like, the difference is Avengers is a live service game. If you don't keep up the live service element of said game dies.
You will always get direct comparisons.
Yeah, which is what Bungie have done so well with Destiny. Outriders, on the other hand, is more, as far as I'm concerned, and I know Kit said it, is more akin to Borderlands. And like Borderlands 2. Borderlands 3 kind of became live service in a sense with the mayhem levels and all the like events and stuff that they put on for like Halloween and stuff. But Borderlands 1 and Borderlands 2, they were literally, poof, there's your game. And then like 6 months later, it's, poof, there's a content drop. You got a new DLC. Then poof, there's a content drop. And poof, there's another content drop. Actually, a year's content. You want us to make more content? Buy this other bloody thing. You know what I mean? So like one of the things they did with Borderlands 2, more specifically, Gearbox, and I can't remember. Was it Gearbox that actually produced and developed it? I can't remember. Anyway, was obviously with Borderlands 2, they did that. They did like your 3 or 4 actual content drops like they did with Borderlands 1, but then on the run up to Borderlands 3, well, the pre-sequel first, they did all the little mini content drops that were a lot cheaper, and it literally included like one area. There were little like hunts or something. That's where like the Son of Cormorax came in and stuff like that. Like if you play Borderlands, you know what I'm talking about. Then on the run up to Borderlands then the pre-sequel happened. They did a little bit of DLC and shit for that, I think. I can't remember. Most people don't even regard the pre-sequel as part of the Borderlands franchise because it was that bad. But it is obviously a Borderlands game. Then you got like the Tales of the Borderlands, which is completely fucking different. It's a Walking Dead Telltale style game because it is made by Telltale. And then on the run up to the Borderlands 3, they did the free content drop of here's a bunch of whole new areas. Here's what story happens between Borderlands 2 and Borderlands 3. And that was quite like a hit. And I think that's partly why they sort of went down this free, here's the events sort of model when it came to Borderlands 3. You had your base game there, but they would add in and remove certain areas here, there, and everywhere. Outriders to me is definitely more like that. I feel like, so me and Kit have been playing Expeditions this afternoon, this morning, with Dryder, who we had on the podcast last week. Because again, we're not just here for the the podcast. I play Apex with Wig. I play Destiny with Wig. Like, you know what I mean? We are friends. Oh, was it week before? Who did we have on last week?
Yeah, we had Noob on last week.
Oh yeah, we had Noob. Oh shit. Oh bollocks. But I have played Apex with Noob, so there is that. But my point being, we don't just get the people to come on the podcast, like go, oh, we want you to be on, come on. We actually play with people that are on the podcast. We're actually friends with these people. Like, at least I consider everybody that has been on so far my friend. So yeah, we was playing with Dryder and we're doing the expeditions, which is like the end game stuff, right? I don't see them going, oh well, here's this event for Halloween. I see them going, oh, here's this expedition for Halloween. It's kind of an event, but it's actually just like a specific mission. Here's this DLC. We're expanding Enoch's map. I won't ruin anything with regards towards the end game of Outriders, but let's just say there is a lot of varied terrain throughout the game, and they could just add on. As long as it made story sense, they could just add on. And then obviously that's where the expeditions come in as well. Like, I feel like it's going to be more like that rather than Destiny's, live service. Okay, here's seasonal content. Here's big expansion drops every 12 to. Obviously, we're getting Witch Queen late. We had Beyond Light slightly late. So here's a big expansion every 12 to 17 months. Just for argument's sake, say that Witch Queen gets delayed to like February instead of January. That's my point. I don't know if you've had any experience with Outriders yet, Wig, and obviously Kit. I've just mentioned that me and you have been playing it together. So
Played the demo. Enjoyed the demo a lot. Played it with a friend. Wasn't massively compelled to go out and buy it at launch. Really enjoyed it there. Thought it was a really great game, really solid, a lot of potential. And I probably will buy it at some point. I just didn't feel compelled to buy it at this moment in time. But from what I've seen, I've watched a lot of people streaming it. I've been watching Glad a lot play it, and yeah, it looks pretty awesome. I've got to say, it does look pretty awesome.
What was it that was in the patch notes earlier, Kit, that you read? They've got patch going live next week with all the like
week they've got patch going, yeah.
Nerfs and stuff, but it was something to do with if you played during the launch window because of all the issues that we've had.
Because of all the issues they've had, yeah. They're going to have a package for people who played. So they'll be like...
as like a thank you.
Resources and stuff. It's just like, thanks. Basically, it's the way I look at it is like, here's some stuff to say thanks and sorry, and it's stuff you might have already gotten anyway if you were on and playing during the time that you couldn't be on and playing. Like, it's nothing massive, but it's stuff that you could have attained were you actually playing them.
Yeah, and it's also better than them going, haha, motherfuckers, you were guinea pigs, haha. Bye. You know
Yeah,
what I
it is a
mean?
lot better than them acting like that.
So,
Endgame content.
speaking of endgame content, yeah.
Yeah, thank you for going along with that.
GMs have proven to be more of like a puzzle than just simply shooting things in the face. We kind of sort of.
We did kind of mention this before, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think this is an opinion piece. They do go on to like some specific things and like saying, okay, well, the kind of weapons that you would normally think, oh, yeah, there's no point using that. Kind of become like, oh, well, if I use this, then I've got other avenues that I can pursue, like later on down the strike and stuff. Yeah.
I do think one of the things that sort of me, Otis, and who was it? I think it was Lee? No, Toes. On Tuesday evening for us, we were attempting to do, the Fallen Saber, which I watched. I've got the only Nightfall, because I planned to do a whole like series of every Nightfall that's in Destiny 1. It's the only one I actually managed to record before my old PC crapped out. So I like looked at that and went, okay, let's see how bad it was in D1. And it was the Taken variant, and I literally drive in to like the Taken area where the you got all these Taken blights everywhere, and then I'm like driving onto the Warsat. Obviously it's down on the ground, and I get insta melted, right? And then I look and I continue watching, and I see one of my friends who I was playing with at the time. I think it was Viper, Griff, one of the two, a Gilf, I can't remember his name. Basically, it was under the map. There was like a glitch you could get underneath the Warsat, so you could still progress it and then, progress on with the strike. And I just turned around and went, after I'd watched that, I turned around and Otis and Toes and I went, yeah, I guarantee they've patched that. So the likelihood of us using that method to do this is there's no point in me looking at this video anymore. But yeah, like then I saw when I left, I think Dune Marchers joined, or Five Club, one or two, or it might have been Lee. It joined Toes and Otis, and they got a little bit further, a little bit further, a little bit further, and then eventually they got to the final boss room. And it was just ammo economy kind of like fucked Otis because they had no reses. They needed to kill a barrier servitor, and it wasn't giving him enough special to do the damage he needed to do, and then take out the servitor as well. Like every time he went to like go and get ammo, the servitor would pop its shield, get its health back, and boom, the process would repeat itself. So they got very unlucky, and then Otis turned around to me the very next day on Wednesday in my stream and said, I don't want to talk about it. And then now he's just put in chat, he got it done today though. So, once builds and stuff, as you said, Kit, are worked out, you kind of can make things work and get there. So,
well,
I do believe
our segues are terrible today.
Well, no, I was just gonna say I do believe that like they have become a bit more of a puzzle. Obviously, Wig, you said you did the GM with a couple of the Just Wipe It guys last weekend. It was wasn't that like literally the day after I joined them as well, wasn't it? If I remember correctly.
I'm not sure. I don't know exactly what day it was you joined them, dude, but it was last week. And yeah, it was good. I mean, I'm on the fence with GMs. Like making enemies like difficult to kill, for me, making something like synthetically more difficult by just giving them shields and making them harder to kill and tankier doesn't necessarily make for an enjoyable experience, in my opinion. I think it's just making something synthetically more difficult like there's no mechanically, there's no difference really. Yeah, you've got the shields and you know you've got to use the mods and that kind of thing, but mechanically there's nothing different. There's no different puzzles you've got to work out that you know that sort of thing. It's I don't know, but then at the same time there is some theory crafting, some build crafting you have to do with weapons and mods and who's running what burn have we got, blah blah blah. So you know, I'm kind of on the fence with it. I kind of enjoy the GMs. I do appreciate the different builds you have to put together and that side of it because I really like that. I love builds. I love armor builds. You know, I've always been one for that. I've always had incredibly high statted characters with you know really good stats in all the right places. So I take a bit of pride in that. But I
Yeah.
don't know.
As
It'd be
Otis
nice to
said,
see
they
him
need
mix it up
to.
a bit to make GMs like something a bit more, maybe introduce a new mechanic or introduce some puzzles you've got to solve or just take it up that little notch. Not, I guess, not like a mini dungeon. Like keep it in the same strike, but maybe add some other things to it.
Yeah,
Like
but
develop it
as
a little, just a little bit further.
Otis put in chat, they should go about a different way to have the player build, craft, and be creative.
Yeah, absolutely.
I completely agree.
100%.
One thing you will notice if you ever watch the stream VOD that I put up on YouTube as my solo flawless Pit of Heresy is the build there playing solo was and trying to survive for myself and get the solo flawless completion was very much different from if me and you and Kit was to go and run one right now.
Oh yeah, 100%. It has to be, doesn't it? Because you have to incorporate all roles into yourself into one.
Yeah, and that's
one
what
loadout.
I think they need to do with regards to strikes and GM, rather than strikes you can just walk through them essentially. Do you know what I mean? You could melee every enemy if you really wanted to. And then
So yeah.
GMs, like you said, add a bit more to the whole system, if you will.
Yeah, I think they will. They probably will do it over time as well. I think they're really on the cusp of something really great with GMs. But yeah, I think they just need to really spark my interest. There just needs to be another little level to them, I think. Rather than just dropping somebody's shield, oh, barrier knight. Okay, you drop the shield and then you just literally have to unload everything into them to kill them. Oh, and the only other dangerous thing is you'll get one shot by a shank. Well, okay, that's cool and all, but it doesn't really. I don't know. It doesn't really flip my switches.
Artificial discovery, difficulty.
Yeah,
even.
yeah, it is a bit artificial, but it's fun. It's fun when you beat it, and like I said last week, I had a great time. I think it was with Five and Lee. Actually, I did it.
Yeah, I think I remember it being.
I had a great time.
I have just realised though, because I was looking to see when I did join the Just Wipe It crew, and then obviously doing that, I looked at the dates comparative. This is actually the first podcast we're doing, Kit, where I'm part of Just Wipe It, because I joined last weekend. So
yeah.
Hey.
Which humoured me a little bit because when I do the audio conversion, I've started doing like not major editing, but like listening through and making sure everything's fine, and then like cutting things off the start and the end where there's like loads of dead air and stuff. So when I was listening through, and then you were saying you doing all of your shout outs at the end, your con Twitter and everything.
Yeah.
And I was just like, well, that episode aged well.
Yeah, because the very next fucking day. That was funny. Again, I've already announced this on my actual streams, but there's no bad blood between me and the favored crew.
No.
It's just the two main admins for the Destiny side of the clan both decided they're going to step away and go elsewhere, focus on different things. And so I've basically felt like it was going to die and it was going to be dead. And I was already in talks with Otis and Five and all them, mostly Dunes, about potentially joining Just Wipe It anyway. So it just worked out. It sort of forced my hand. That was it. That's basically what. That's the way I put it.
As fun as it's been talking about last week, can we talk about this week?
Yeah, this week at Bungie. As we said, they did a deep dive into Prestige. You can go and watch that on the YouTube channel, I assume. Yeah, or full replay there. There's a link in the TWAB if you want to go and watch it. They're doing Kilts for Kids this year.
Yep. It's nice to see them like constantly doing well, not constantly. It's not like 24/7, but constantly doing like charity drives and stuff like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for a good emblem as well. That's a particularly nice one. I've got Scottish blood, so yeah. I think I'll pick that one up.
I will be very, very, very disappointed if I do not see Pigeon wearing this emote.
That'll be his bread and butter forever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm extremely disappointed. But anyway. So $50 donation. Get this year's unique emblem. And I just realized I said emote and I meant emblem.
We can edit and post, it's fine.
Then you got Iron Banner. New weapons next season. Well, a couple of them are, and some of them are reissued year one ones, apparently, which is the hand cannon and the sniper rifle, apparently. I've only ever known Bite of the Fox in D2 personally, because I'd never really played much after doing the story stuff in D1. Year one even.
Well, they're not really reprised weapons, just saying they're familiar, because like they're already in.
Yeah.
But yeah, two of those weapons are also making their debut.
And then next season, I've already seen a bunch of responses to this part on Twitter.
Yes.
Because again, they did an early TWAB.
On this.
Really early TWAB today. Me grab. The time was 7 o'clock my time in the UK.
Yeah.
Or our time, because we're all UK. So 2 p.m. Eastern. That's like very early. And they usually do it around about an hour ago, normally. So there's changes to 120s, which, let's face it, needed to happen. They've been dominant for 4 or 5 months now. And will have been dominant for 6 months by the time they actually get changed, because it's next season that they're getting changed. Same with, Vortex Frame Swords, Guillotine. Let's face it, was the be-all, end-all in heavy DPS ever since it was introduced in Season of Arrivals, until we got the fucking Lament. So they've done a little bit of changes to that.
I don't know why they're touching Lament again. Like, oh man, reading some of these weapon changes.
One thing I will say on the Lament side of things is it's an exotic sword. Exotics are supposed to be powerful. If you've got somebody running an exotic sword, they're not running Izanagis. You know what I mean? Like.
But the risk you take upon yourself, especially in GMs or the higher level content, on getting that close to an enemy is, you take quite a risk in doing that. Yep. You lose all ranged attack from your heavy weapon. There's a lot of downsides, a lot of negatives to using a sword. I'm not a big Lament user, but I don't see it all the time. I think the next thing they will touch will be Anarchy. And for me, that's going to be a real shame. I don't know. I've got an opinion on weapon balancing and
I
weapon
personally don't
sunsetting.
think, because Lee is somebody that keeps saying, oh, they're going to nerf Anarchy. And me and Otis were talking about it earlier, before the 12, just as the 12 came out. I don't think they're going to touch Anarchy, personally, because it does exactly what it's supposed to. Damage over time.
It does, but the problem,
the only comparison thing to it is Witherhoard, and yes, Witherhoard did get a DOT nerf slightly. It doesn't do as much as Anarchy. The difference being Anarchy requires heavy ammo, right? Witherhoard requires special. It's a lot easier to get special than it is heavy. Do you know what I mean? So that was to be expected. You don't want an outlier like Witherhoard to do as much damage as a heavy weapon. You want the heavy weapon to be if you have a choice between the two, you want the heavy weapon to be picked. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I just always feel that Bungie don't like it when one weapon is dominant, regardless of if it's balanced or not. Regardless, I mean, obviously, if it is chosen by 90% of the population, it's obviously not balanced or it's very strong. But Bungie don't like, from what I've experienced and seen, when one weapon is really dominant and nobody's using anything else. They like to try and open the field up so that people will want to use different weapons, but that's not how it ever works. It's the same with sunsetting. Like, sunsetting weapons for me, I don't know. I just thought it was a little bit lazy. Like, instead of sunsetting the weapons, why don't we balance the weapons a bit better instead of just like mountaintop? And I think they've understood that now, and I think that's why they've reversed it. But like mountaintop, I went through some hellish grind to get that weapon, and then for them to sunset it. And I'm not a big mountaintop user, but just as an example, like just balance the weapons a little bit better. Don't unnecessarily nerf things just because people are using them a lot. Like, I don't know. They need to find a better way of balancing their weapons. All these constant tweaks, and that's getting nerfed. That's getting nerfed. You know.
So
I don't know.
Otis said for me to look at Ill Physics, who is a prominent PvP player within Destiny's community. Just if I remember correctly, he's just got partnered on Twitch as well. Yeah. He goes. Yeah, he goes. Physics is on quick draw. He has it on point in Otis's opinion. Quick draw is not the issue. I'm not like finding exactly what the tweet he's referring to. Myself.
So, in my opinion, I agree with that. Quick draw is not the issue because
I don't think it is. No.
If shot package is the issue with
yeah.
Colin, 100%. That's what gives it its consistency over range. Quick draw is not an issue at all. I mean, if they keep quick draw on lightweight weapons, it's still going to be like one of the best perks because, it just is. Regardless of how much damage, or even if you can't map somebody with it, just to be able to switch to your shotgun super quick and even just do some chip damage and then switch back to your hand cannon to finish them off. It's always going to be a strong perk, regardless of if they take it off aggressive frames or not. It's always going to be top tier. Always.
I don't like this either. Frenzy being
I think the way that you would take the changes they're making to quick draw depend on how you're using the perk. Because the way I always looked at quick draw, because I didn't know about its passive handling buff, was that yes, you swap to and from the weapon faster. That's the point. Now what they're saying is the handling bonus, the plus 100 passive handling buff, will disappear after a second of switching or ADS.
Yeah.
Right.
So what Elodis has put in chat is because of the blanket nerf, it affects all hand cannons and snipers with the perk as well, which don't deserve to be nerfed. No, especially with the recent fucking sniper flinch nerfs, from Beyond Light and the beginning of this season. But yeah, continue.
Which is another example of what I was just saying. That's a prime example.
So what I was going to say is that the way that I've seen this is that they're changing quick draw to more suit how it was supposed to initially work. Because while it had the passive buff of the passive handling buff, is that became one of the things that people would choose the perk for, rather than, oh yeah, I can switch quicker. Because you can still switch quicker to and from the weapon. You get a second of the extra handling buff as well. It's just not permanently on.
The other thing is they're taking. I've seen people tweet.
And the other thing as well is that's now that one I agree with more, is that's a bit heavy-handed. It's just because you've got that, fair enough. That basically brings the perk more in line with what they expected it to do.
This is a key thing as well that people are talking about.
Things isn't the move.
No.
Yeah, this is the key thing that people are talking about. And I think that's what you're sort of referencing, Kit. Is they're removing quick draw from Felwinter's and Astral and giving you surplus.
Right. Which puts everybody that didn't have Felwinter's from last season and Astral from last season at a disadvantage. Because I've got an Astral with quick draw, but you can't get that anymore.
No. New and existing.
Yeah. New and existing. You'll get surplus. You'll log in once this patch goes live, and your Astral will have surplus. It won't have quick draw at all.
What?
Yep.
Replaced out. Oh, I can see now. Replaced quick draw with surplus on new and existing drops of Felwinter's.
And as Otis just put, it also makes 0 legendary kinetic shotguns viable in PvP.
Why would they do what? Wait, hang on.
So for me, all this is going to do
off that archetype altogether. Then
all this is going to do for me, and do you know what? Tony Physics's tweet 57 minutes ago has just sort of confirmed this. Is everyone's going to go Felwinter's? What Felwinter's? I've got a 7th Seraph in my vault. I've still got quick draw on that.
Yeah, so have I. Yeah, I've got about 4 or 5 other shotguns with
the lightweight frame
on which
I'm not being funny. Some of the things I saw Anubis do with a 7th Seraph when he was like going on his PvP kick before he went over to playing a lot more Apex now. Obviously, he's coming back and dabbling again in Destiny 2, but some of the things I saw him do with a 7th Seraph shotgun, and I think he said something about he refuses to use Felwinter's, or he didn't have Felwinter's. I can't remember which. You know, it was months ago now.
Tony's got some naughty rolls on that Seraph.
Yeah, it's actually nuts. Do you know what I mean? So it's essentially it's like cutting off your arm to spite your hand. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And as Otis says again, it's an energy. So what you're basically doing is turning around and saying, we are nerfing kinetic in general. Like Astral is what, the only one of that archetype, and it's from Trials, so it's already hard to get. And then you've got your, bottom dollar and thingy in the energy slots, which as Otis has just basically outlined my point in chat, all these new hand cannons,
and that's where I was going to go as well, is that
they're energy weapons.
As heavily, yeah. The other thing is that I'm not as heavily invested in this change, specifically with looking at like snipers and shotguns and stuff, because I usually run double primary anyway. It's so much so that when I got my Felwinter's a few seasons ago, I can't even remember when, I didn't even keep it. I was like, great, thanks, bye, because I knew I wasn't going to use it. Because every time I've used it, regardless of the role, even if I had a great role on a shotgun, I cannot use them.
I was like that until last season. I was a sniper, but then obviously the flinch things with snipers forced me to change. My first proper what's the word? Pinnacle weapon from like Crucible or Gambit or whatever. Yeah. My first one was Revoker. Because it's OP? No. Because I am a god in Crucible? No. Because I snipe. Like, the 300 kills in sniping was nothing for me. I did it in Iron Banner in like 1 week. Like, and as Otis said, pellet shotguns have not been good in PvE for a long time. Only just in Beyond Light did slugs get brought up to par. Yes, because, DPS and shit. Pellet shotguns have not been good in PvE since the OG Icolos shotty with trench barrel, which obviously has now got random rolls and you can get again from Prophecy, but at the same time, there are alternate roll.
Rapid fire though, isn't it? It's
there are alternate energy shotguns or energy weapons in general that you could use to probably include.
I think if you're looking for primary shotguns, you'd have to look at Astral with threat detector. You'd have to look at something to increase your handling speed. I think dexterity mods are going to be massive now. I think Astral.
Yeah, and as Otis said, the OG Icolos shotty was Warmind DLC.
Yeah, with trench barrel. Yeah, that was a PvE monster. The slug shotgun from the public event on the moon. I mean, I know that's energy, I believe, but oh no, it's primary. No, it's not. It's primary.
Blasphemy, it's a primary, but it's a slug.
Blasphemy.
It's a slug. Slugs, in my opinion, slugs.
Chaperone's going to be a monster. Surplus is going to be a good perk. Anything to increase handling, people are going to be looking at.
Quick charge, as Otis said, is going to be.
Oh yeah, that is going to be.
Massive.
It's going to be huge.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm glad I've started including it in builds already, because it's like, aha.
It's almost like you've seen this coming.
Yeah, quick draw on my Fellwinters with quick charge. I'm basically pulling it out faster than you can pull your Fellwinters out because you've only got quick draw.
Like, quick draw has never been an issue. Like, it's never been an issue. To really maximize the use of quick draw, you've got to be quite skilled player, Crucible. The issue was with the range with Fellwinters. It would map you so consistently from like 9, 10, 11 meters out.
It was so inconsistent for me as well. Like, you would feel like somebody. So like me and you fought each other for the Fellwinters. I would hit you and shoot you. You would be like half shield or half health, depending on how close I was to you.
Super consistent.
And then you would hit me and I would die. It's like we're at the same fucking range. Like, how does that make a difference? You know what I mean? But
I'm definitely going to look at the Seraph shotgun now. With probably go back to a 140. I'll probably go back to my Dire Promise.
Yeah.
And the Seraph shotty with quick draw, 100%.
But then obviously they're making changes to Bastion as well, so it now is intrinsically unstoppable. I think that's something that needs to be done with most exotics. They all should be intrinsically one of the champions thing.
Well, so it does have intrinsic perks now.
Bastion will have intrinsic unstoppable champ. Since they're removing the chip damage.
Oh, that's cool. Okay, I like that. That's cool. That's a good addition.
Increased feedback on Bastion and higher than normal usage in PvP. So we're making a small change and we'll revisit it later. So they're increasing the spread angle by 13%, but then also giving it intrinsic unstoppable to make it usable in PvE as well. Then obviously there's suiting up for the channel, talking about, I think, the seasonal challenge where you need to have the full armor set, and they didn't actually clarify that it was the Praefectus armor set from this season.
Yeah.
It was just, in general, people were thinking it was just an armor set. I had to correct, I think it was toes on this the other day. He had almost a full set of the Europa gear and was like happy to try and get the final piece he needed. And I was like, no, you need the Perfectus gear. You don't have the seasonal stuff, dude.
Wow.
You need to go and farm that.
That Grandmaster thing, just in a second, is they really need to fix that. It's literally the next section under suited for seasonal content.
Since Grandmasters are introduced, we notice players who can't be revived will eventually get kicked out of the activity due to inactivity. To mitigate this issue in future Grandmaster Nightfalls, players should open their character or director screens and go through their menus to avoid being removed from the activity. We're investigating a solution for this in future seasons. Yeah, they definitely need to fix that. Fuck me. Sorry, we're like way over time, so I'm just skipping over the bounty rewards and stuff. So then there's movie of the weeks. You know, something to go and check out if you want to watch these. Then you got artist of the week, and then a little summary of the 12, which is, you know, sandbox changes. Covered Celerity and Bottomless Grief last week. They're also excited to look at things like Iron Grit, Subsistence and Unrelenting, as well as more. They have a full list and detailed changes ready for you to read through in just a few short weeks. So looking forward to seeing what else they're going to look at changing. Transmog is right around the corner. Guardian Games is on our doorstep. Vault of Gas is on its way. Elders, fresh new season content just over a month away. So
gosh, already. Jeez.
Exactly. I'm gonna switch back to that scene right there because we don't need me to have my
we do not
thingy back open. And on that point, I can actually just close down my gaming PC because I don't need it open.
Well, it's come to that time where we round up the podcast.
So, do you want to ask Wig the questions, Kit?
Thanks for coming on, Wig.
Pleasure.
You've had some really, really good opinions there. Lots to chew through. So we ran a little bit over. Sorry about that.
No problem.
But in terms of being on, you know, if we were to ask you to be on again, is there anyone you want to be on with, or you know, going forward, is there anyone you want to see us talk to?
Who would I want to be on with? Wow. I'm not sure really. I don't know. It's a tough question. I don't know. I'd have to think about that. I would definitely love to be back on, 100%. Who would I like to see on? I'd really like to see if you could get him on. I'd like to see Lucky revamped on the show. I think that would be cool. I think Five's been on it, hasn't he? Otis has been on, Lee's been on. All those guys have been on.
Five and Lee have. Five, Lee, and Otis have been on. Five and Otis were on together.
Okay, yeah. I remember that. I caught a bit of that.
I
think one person.
I've got Dunes on the list, and I need to add Jimmy to it as well. But Jimmy's time sort of doesn't typically work out with me.
I think Toby would be a good one to have on. He's really sort of pushing himself with these solo GMs.
I've already
doing a really good job.
I've already reached out to him as well, and he said he will be. So just got to give him.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I mean you've got Sabe.
Time for that.
Yeah, you've got loads of people. But I would love to be on with anyone again. Anyone, throw me in with anybody. I'm pretty easygoing like that. I don't mind.
Wonderful.
So I'll echo.
Talking to you.
Yeah, I'll echo what Kit said about. Thank you for coming on. Appreciate
My pleasure. Thanks for having me. It's been great, and thanks for giving me the opportunity to talk about the charity stream at the weekend as well.
Well, there's where we was going next. Is where can people find you? You know, Twitch, Twitter. Have the floor essentially, and sort of promote yourself real quick. While I look for a raid target.
You can get me on Twitch, twitch.tv/WiggyStylz. Twitter is @WiggyStylz. Discord, you can get me WiggyStylz or The Colony. Yeah, Sunday I am live opening the show 9 a.m. until 11 a.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. BST for the Guardians Mental Health charity event. We're raising money for neurodivergent mental health kits, which we send out to hopefully aid and assist people struggling with mental health issues.
And they will be live all weekend, right? So we've got Friday, Saturday, and Sunday on twitch.tv/GuardiansMH.
That's it.
Correct? Yeah.
Yep.
Alright. Okay, I think I found a target. We've raided them. We've raided them before.
Oh well.
And they've been on the show before.
Ooh. That narrows things down a little.
Mr. Solidusly. So anyone who is a regular in my channel already knows the drill, if you will, which is if you're subbed to the channel, use my Twitch emotes, which Kit has so kindly put in the chat. If you are not and don't want to use channel points to unlock them, because you can unlock them for 24 hours with the channel point redemption, then you can go and use the Twitch global raid emotes that Kit has also so kindly put in the chat. Appreciate you coming on, Wig, again, and I'm just gonna get in the raid command real quick, and then I'm gonna open.
Oh, I just want to say, can I just say real quick, Trey?
Cool.
I just want to say a massive thanks to my friends and my mods from my Discord, Twitch. Without those guys, a lot of my streaming that wouldn't take place. So thank you. That was it.
You're very well. For me giving you the opportunity to do that anyway. Actually, you know what? I just thought I'm gonna open the stream on my phone real quick because I'm gonna hop off the bed anyway.
There when the thing pops up, yeah.
Let me do that real quick and let me hit enter so that it starts the raid. Appreciate everybody for listening on the various platforms and those that have tuned in live today. Appreciate you for coming on out. And until next week, we'll see you on the next one. Peace.